Imagine a character that is a reflection of Genshin Impact's current best character, and imagine a character that has one of the biggest individual ceilings to checks of the whole game. To all of this adds that the supports are eternal and the carries are temporary. And we have one of the must-pull, and one of the characters, apart from being in design, one of my top 3 waifus. So today, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about what's going on with Yelan, or if he deserves it.
Stop being horny and give me your Mora.
Huh? Sorry, Yelan. Estana has to arrive before NATLAN and Hoyovers has well known how to put Yelan and Emily just before the nation. So if you want to have a lot of luck and save your protogamers, leave a good like. A good ulti from Bennett, subscribe, leave a good comment for algorithm. Remember that this is all free and help very much to the exposure of the channel, to the growth of the project, to that the channel is recommended so that more people can arrive. So thank you for all the support. And let's go, as I said, with what happens to Yelan, or he's worth Yelan. I think many already have Yelan on your account, so whoever already has Yelan, leave me in the comments how much maximum life in the field you have with Yelan. I hope you read down here, and basically Yelan has a fairly broad evolution because it exists since 2.7. The editors will be putting the exact fragment around here at the end of the story. Of Sima, which as many ancients in the channel, is my favorite playable area external to the regions. Especially the underground part of Sima. I spent it over and over again in a loop. I thought it was a separate video game at the beginning. Exploration, puzzles, chests, history part. I loved it. And basically from there, Yelan has already taken the throne up to 4. 2 that comes Fiorina. And of course we will talk about Fiorina in this video because Fiorina is some kind of Yelan with steroids. It is today, with a minimal difference that we will talk about in the video, practically a character who does the same thing. So is Yelan worth it or not? Since Yelan arrived? Yes. And his famous cone and aqua simulacra, the first time he arrived, it has provided us with very high ceilings, overcoming and improving equipment that already existed previously. As the most played team in all of Inazuma, which was the Raiden National, being able to play Raiden C2. Yelan Cone, Aqua with Xiangling Bennett, and giving us a top 3 team at the time in Inazuma. I mean, it was top 3. It was one of the 3 best teams in the whole game, next to Permafrost and next to Raiden Hypercarry. Or Chix and Raiden C2 or C3, all balled up in the whole story. And from there, Yelan had no rival. In fact, in that 2.6, 2.7 is when personally, and I don't know if it sounds to some colleagues that they didn't talk about it much until the concept was coined. And months later, in Sumeru, there was talk of the must-pull with Nahida and something else. But then at 2.6, 2.7, the concept of must-pull was brought in as characters that should be on your account because they were the best of the best. Genshin, when by the height of Inazuma, we already had about 50 characters. At the height of watching this video, there are almost 100 characters in Genshin. But the reality is that there is a select group of less than 10 characters, which is 10% of these 100 characters that there are, that make us all the game. What does Yelan do? Basically, it is a Xingqiu with steroids. Xingqiu gives us a decent amount of damage as sub-DPS. You know that Xingqiu gives a defensive contribution both in mitigations and in resistance to interruption. As in a micro-healer. Relationships to the character very interesting and brings a lot to the teams. And to be a 4 stars is the 4 best 4 stars of the game, the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. You know, there's already a video on the channel talking about the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. But the summary is that Yelan arrived, and the character itself is a Xingqiu, who have taken away all the defensive input. But he's been added to a triple damage roof of Xingqiu. Literally, Yelan with cone ceilings and aqua can get to do triple exactly the same equal build conditions. Harmful than what a Xingqiu can do. Besides Yelan, it is a sub-DPS that allows you to apply enough to make a lot of less reactions with Hu Tao. And that was his only limitation. But as Xingqiu existed, you could play Yelan Xingqiu. You already had Hu Tao doing with the hydro consonants plus amazing vaporized ones. And he brought us a new roof apart from the National Raiden. He brought a new roof to Hu Tao's team. So in the end, Yelan is a sub-DPS hydro applicator. That also the character. In the field, it puts a bufo of 50% of the damage inflicted. This is a savage. Yelan was the queen and the best hydro support from 2.6 or 2.7 to 4.2 that came to Fiorina. And now Eton's worth talking about Fiorina. Yelan established himself as must-pull and one of the 3 best 5-star characters. What happened at 4-2? Fiorina arrived. Fiorina, what does she do? Like sub-DPS Fiorina C2 and gun, it can literally reach more than twice as much damage as Yelan can achieve, because its application amount is so high. That the only difference in equipment with Yelan is that Fiorina can't apply to the National Raiden. Or the gross damage that can be acquired with C2 and life scaling once you cape critical proportion, makes you get to be punching 80, 90, 90, 120 without vaporizing, 300,000 vaporizing a blow from one of the biggest. 40 napets to C2, and well-built weapon. Overcoming more than twice the gross damage Yelan may have, and they made him instead of putting in 50% of the damage inflicted on him. Character in the field, Fiorina would get up to 100% damage inflicted on the entire team. That's the only thing. So what position does this leave Yelan in? Well, number 1 is like I said the video at first. It is the hydro, and it also requires a lot of hydro for a lot of equipment. And there are many teams that rely on Fiorina plus Yelan as Arlecchino's second best team, as Hu Tao's best team today. Like many teams and combinations of Hyperloom double hydro joining Yelanat's boobies, more Fiorina for the character in the field, and so along etc. Or as in the Abyss you require 2 teams, being able to have 2 teams, being able to have a team with Fiorina and a team with Yelan, or a team with Yelan plus Xingqiu, or a team with Xingqiu and a team with Fiorina plus Yelan, and combine both damage monkeys inflicted. Will you stop entering the top 3 Yelan list of the game for Fiorina's existence? Because the current top 3 are Nahida, Fiorina and Kazuha as supports. Stop being more pool because of Fiorina's existence? No, Padiana say, I've done there. Do we have the 3rd best hydro character in the game after Nervilla to Fiorina? Yelan Dante, and Diablo. Do we have the 2nd best hydro support in the game after Fiorina? Yelan Dante. Do we have one of the most powerful sub-DPS in the game? And recently, well, not recently. I don't know if you'll see before or after, it's a spoiler, but I made a video of the best Shix of all Genshin Impact that will be. And basically in that video I explained that Yelan with Shix is one of the most powerful potentials. And Yelan Shix beats Fiorina. This is information that is not so important, because almost no one will have either Fiorina Shix or Yelan Shix of which you watch this video. Leave it in the comments if I want to know what level of wailing and classism is in my community. And basically Yelan hasn't stopped being must-pull, but as I've told you in many other videos, there would be a second category of must-pull with less importance than the first 3 characters, that casually are characters that are very similar and give us almost the same thing as these first 3 better characters. Of the game stands which are Yelan in Fiorina's shadow, Xiang Yun as 2nd best support, Animo of the game after Kazuha, and in my opinion, and this here I could be wrong until Emily comes out within a few days and we'll see it the day it comes out, Emily as 2nd best inside the game after Nahida. So if you enter a 2nd category of must pull and is ultra recommended in all accounts, as I say, with an incredible roof of cone and aqua. But in this video worth asking me about the constellations, we'll see if it's worth it. C2 gives you extra damage. Well, Eton's not bad. But above all, the C2 is not that I give you that extra hit for the extra damage. What C2 does is that Yelan's application capability with C2 is complete. And while it still doesn't rival the Xingqiu Chi6 app, and the only difference is just Hu Tao's teams, and that's it, improves its application capacity for the rest of the equipment, and that all reactions are pure. I mean, for the Raiden National, for the Bloom or Hyper Bloom or Crepitar teams in the future. Now that the Crepitar goal is coming in NATLAN and Emily and Kinish and Mualan, and maybe doing some kind of Crepitar outside the strange field, vaporizing the normal ones over Burn and this help. But I personally wouldn't tell you to go through the C2 with Cone and Aqua or Cone and a bunch of Argos that I'll comment on in the build. Yelan is already blessed Jesus Christ on Earth and one of the best characters of Genshin Impact. So little more leave a good like, a good Bennett, ulti, subscribe, leave a good comment for algorithm. Thank you for supporting the channel to help all the growth, exposure, and everything you do, which is totally free and which helps a lot, and take care of yourself. Having a very good day. Yelan for the algorithm, Aqua, Simulacra for the algorithm, and Manifest Luck and Chaito.